kicking for you like it's 9-3. You see, Rob impact the mic, keeping it real, G. Talk about relationships, money, and health. Dropping knowledge while I'm spitting it, that's a wealth.
Complex conversations, we break it down. Pop culture topics, we hold it down. Dive deep into society's complexities. Educate, entertain, never rest in it. Complex
Context, where the truth unfolds. Analyzing life through stories untold. Rob impact, dropping knowledge every day.
Unpacking life's complexities, one topic at a time. You're listening to Complex Context. Here is your host, Rob Impact.
Here is Rob Impact, and welcome to Complex Context. Back at it again for another episode. I'm very excited that you're here to join us for all kinds of discussion and banter and just venting and dreaming and all that good stuff about life. That's what we do here. We talk about some different context related to topics that could be of a complex nature, but ultimately, we unpack life's complexities one topic at a time. And somebody has to do it, so I chose to have this forum here for all of us to kind of lean back into and just take a moment to think and digest. And we're going to do that as we always do this week. How has your week been? Mine has been fantastic. I especially have had a wonderful Father's Day celebration. We'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I want to send such love and appreciation to the mass of listeners that have joined this podcast. I really appreciate it. Always happy to grow the complex crew, as I like to call you. We have such great feedback that's coming across our social media pages. I want to give a huge shout out to our listeners in the United States. Shout going out to Canada as well. Thank you very much. Russia, we see you as always. Thank you. And Singapore, thank you for your listenership and your time. It's really humbling to see how we're reaching a global audience, and I just can't thank you enough for sticking around with us and listening to what we have to review all together. You know, this is really a show designed just to kind of enjoy each other and enjoy some of the perspectives that we can provide. We're not always going to agree, but that's life. And this is a show that we allow you the opportunity to provide your perspective in relation to the perspective that I might be providing. So make sure that you participate. I'm going to give you that information in a little bit. Our Facebook page has blown up since the last time, and by that I mean it has grown to numbers that I just was not expecting to see. We have over 500 Facebook page followers. Thank you so much for your love and your time and your willingness to check us out. Big shouts going out to the folks over at India. I appreciate you. We have a lot of love coming from our folks over in India and lots of love coming from our folks over in Mexico. Both of those locations stepped up as far as showing that online love, and that doesn't negate you if you've done the same and you're not in either one of those countries. Don't worry about it. We still love you, but I'm just saying, who we? It came in like a big wave from the ocean. India and Mexico, they just flooded our Facebook page with all kinds of likes and reaching out in love, so I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. As mentioned, from week to week, I have to remind you, we are on 11 different platforms. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there, so make sure you spread the word to your family and your friends if they want to be part of the Complex crew and reach out to us, maybe with some feedback, episode topic suggestions, or just showing a little love. They can do that wherever you get your podcast, but most importantly, we have to give a huge shout to our hosting partner, Podbean. Hi, Podbean. How are you? Podbean is the source of where we have our official website. You can visit it at complexcontext.podbean.com. You will have every episode available to you, as well as a little bit of background information on the show and links to all of the platforms that we are on. Just because we say wherever you get your podcasts. We don't want you to think that it's strictly audio only. We're on YouTube as well. So if you look up Complex Context on YouTube or link to it from our official webpage, you can have that up on your screen and listen. We're not trying to leave anybody out. Yesterday was Father's Day in the United States, and it's typically held on the third Sunday of every June, if I remember my calendar correctly. And I had a fantastic day. I enjoyed a nice, huge breakfast with my wife, my daughter, and my father-in-law. That was fantastic. I had a delicious omelet that was called The Works, and it had ham, peppers, onions, I believe mozzarella cheese, and something else in it. You have to forgive me. There was so much in there. I couldn't remember all of it. Along with some home fries and raisin toast, which hit the spot more than I was expecting. But it was a great breakfast for all of us. We all had our own respective dishes. I think I was the only one to get an omelet, but we had pancakes, I believe, and French toast, and it was a nice celebration and appreciation for both my father-in-law and myself to be with our respective daughters. It's a dynamic that's not always celebrated together like that, and I think it's pretty cool when you're able to do that. I also received a couple of really great greeting cards from my daughter. It was so cool. I was just blown away by one that she created from scratch, and it was this very colorful multi-page deal about things that she likes or things that she appreciates about me, and she was able to write in an answer for each question, so that really meant a lot to me. She also had a pretty humorous card as well, which I was very happy to see and receive because it was right in line with our humor, so that was really cool as well. And from my daughter and my wife for a Father's Day gift, I got these really nice, like super fly pair of Nike Dunk Lows. They're black and white, and they happen to match Dunk Lows that they both have. So now, and this is kind of surprising, I'll touch on that in a second, we all have pretty much the same color scheme for our respective shoe sizes, and that's cool. And I'm kind of surprised at that because in past attempts in trying to, say, match some clothing style, not as a one-to-one, but a general kind of theme, my wife has usually been a little reserved about it. So the fact that I got these one-to-one, same exact style, color scheme, pair of Dunk Lows that they had, I was very surprised that she was all about that. It might just be a shoe game thing, I don't know. But regardless of that, they do look really fly on my feet. I'm really digging these, and I'm looking forward to showing them off as the opportunity arises in the future. But I think most of my footwear and definitely a lot of my clothing, they're not really white base because I have this odd, not really phobia, but this odd worry that I'm going to mess them up and that I'm going to get them dirty and I won't be able to clean them off. And it's really a shame that I feel that way because you want to be able to enjoy these things without those kinds of worries that you don't even know if that'll ever come to fruition. So it's nice to have these, knowing that they were a gift and I can actually enjoy some white sneakers and not be too worried about it because they mean a lot. And there's just something more special about enjoying this gift and not worrying too much about it just because it's the thought that is behind these. I was just more impressed that they were able to find the same exact style in my size. I'm not exactly the smallest on the shoe size scale, but they did, and we all look really good together. So hopefully I'll get a picture out there of all of us standing next to each other with the Dunk Lows. A family that looks good with their sneaker game together stays together. I guess that's how it goes. Now, for those that don't know, Father's Day, and I want to give a little bit of education without taking away some of the effort from your side, because I think it's important for everybody to kind of dig a little deeper and get these details. But Father's Day in the United States was first proposed in 1909, and coincidentally, it was by a woman, which I was super surprised at finding out, but I thought it was pretty cool. It does speak to the mindfulness and the thoughtfulness of our female counterparts, so I wasn't totally surprised, but it really wasn't something that I took into consideration until I saw that and read it, and it hit me, and I said, wow, that's pretty cool. So this particular woman, her father was a Civil War veteran that was a single parent, and he was raising 6 kids in total, which is a gigantic ask of any single parent to be put in that position. Never mind 6 kids. Try raising a kid by yourself, and that's huge. So this is really a strong, strong man that the woman was the daughter of. She told one of her pastors about the idea of having a Father's Day celebration after she heard a prior sermon about Mother's Day, which was already existing. And as time went on, there was this continued effort by her to have it stick and make it a legitimate celebration. Not to get too deep into the weeds here, but as you can tell, it got to the point that the legitimacy, not immediately, but after time, finally took effect and people were supporting it, and it is what it is today. So many, many thanks to all of the fathers out there. I want to say Happy Father's Day and I love you to my father, who taught me more things than probably what he realized. And teachings, regardless of it being Father's Day related, I think for life in general, sometimes teaching somebody valuable lessons happens as a result of indirect consequences to our parents' actions, whether good or otherwise. And my father has taught me so much, both directly and indirectly, and I thank him greatly for that, because he is part of the reason that I decided to become the person that I wanted to be. It was through his example, again, both with intent and otherwise, that I was able to say, okay, I get it. That's my dad. I love him. And this is who I want to be. And also in the back of your head, not as much of a focus, who I don't want to be. And my dad has been really, really good about making sure that he conveys a personality and a particular type that allows me to really see it and judge for myself how I want to or maybe don't want to take those factors into my own life's implementation and how I conduct myself. So I love you, Dad. Happy Father's Day, or I should say late Father's Day. And I want to wish everybody out there who is let's say a father-like figure, a happy Father's Day. And I say that because it goes beyond just a biological sense. Father's Day should be a celebration, and no different than Mother's Day, of who has provided you guidance and love and has given you opportunities and structure and has really been an influence to your life. And it doesn't have to be, again, from a biological sense. This is somebody that you can look up to, a parental-like figure, a real example of an adult, or let's say a leader that you have so much respect for and has made an impact on you one way or the other, and you have this closeness to them. That's super important to keep in mind, because I think when we talk about Father's Day and Mother's Day and Grandparents' Day and all these kinds of days, we take it to heart that it is always from a biological sense. And of course, that's going to be the first kind of degree of celebratory thinking that we all have. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is it is just as important for us to understand that these celebrations go beyond just how we can trace our bloodline and what person they end up to. So, with that said, regardless of your situation in terms of how you celebrate and who you're linked to for these celebrations, if you have made a positive influence on somebody's life and you are in a leader or parental-like position to them, I want to wish you a happy Father's Day. You have done more good than what you probably realize, and in today's world, that's super important. So I applaud you. My wife and daughter and I had the opportunity to meet up with some of my family that I haven't seen in a long, long time. I have two cousins that I have a lot of respect and a lot of love for, and as we have grown older and we've established our own families and lives and professional foundations, one of my cousins has ended up in Virginia over the past few years. Another one of my cousins has ended up in Florida over the past few years, and though we communicate and still have a great love and respect for each other, it's really kind of weird to know that we are at the point in our adulthood that we're all doing our own thing, and though we don't forget about each other and we still have a great deal of emotional support for each other, it stinks to know that we are all so far apart. So being able to meet up with them was a real big treat, not just for myself, but for my wife and my daughter also, especially because my daughter tries to keep in regular communication with my two cousins as well. They've both been a great influence on her, and I'm very appreciative of that. I want to send my love to my cousin Brianna and let her know that I'm proud of her for the program that she recently completed, and she had to stay in Massachusetts for a little while, so I know that she was homesick, and she was looking forward to getting back home to her husband and to her pets, and I don't blame her. But she had a real great accomplishment that she was finishing up in the Massachusetts area, and I'm very proud of her for that. So much love to you, B. Also, I have to send my love to Kendra. It was great to see you, to know what you go through on a day-to-day at your work, and to navigate through some of the craziness around your environment, both personally and professionally. I have to give it to you. I'm proud of you for all of the studies and the execution of your professional life that you've done over the years. So they're both sisters, and they're both my cousins, first cousins. So being able to spend time with them, with my family right beside me, it was great, I think, for all of us. We had the opportunity to go out to a family fun center, and we had a nice game of bowling, which I almost was able to be the top dog, but didn't quite get it done. Apparently, my cousin Brianna seems to be a Pro Bowlers Association level bowler, even though she'll deny it. And yeah, maybe there's a little exaggeration there, but for someone that might do this casually, she had no problem showing up the rest of us during the bowling game. So I'm going to remember that as best as I can. So next time that we're together, I'm going to be more prepared. I have to be, because I feel like I got the wool pull over my eyes in terms of all of us being on the same level. She was pulling out some kind of trickery because she had some pretty consistent shots down the lane. So I got you. I see how you're doing it over there, and I'm going to get you next time in bowling, Bree, okay? I'm going to get you. That aside, we were able to do the bowling game. We had an arcade there that we played all kinds of different games on. I was able to beat Brianna score-wise with the hoop shot basketball, so that was a little bit of retribution on my side. But I also had the awesome experience of spinning that gigantic wheel that's supposed to have all different ticket amounts on it. It's almost like the Price is Right big wheel. And I happened to land on 500, which I was ecstatic about because I knew that that was going right to my daughter and her prize selection towards the end. We also had a nice kind of late lunch, early dinner at the restaurant that was attached. And the food was okay, but really the only picky part about the entire experience would be the live music. There was a gentleman there that had a guitar and was singing through a microphone, and I thought, as nice as the concept was, it was a little bit more intrusive than they being the staff, thought it would be to customers. I was really just wanting to focus on the conversation and catching up with my cousins who are from two very different places in the United States. And it just kept going back to this gentleman and his singing. And in my opinion, not really good covers of a lot of different songs from a lot of different genres. I mean, we went from alternative rock to a tiny drop of hip hop to some classic oldies. It was okay, I suppose, for what it was worth, but really, it's important for people to have these experiences when they're out and about, to have entertainment when it makes sense. And there certainly was not enough people in this restaurant to have it make sense. But that aside, we had a great time all together. I love them very much, and I'm not too sure if they'll hear this on the episode or not. They might. But either way, I do want to express my appreciation for them coming out to our area and for spending time with us. It really meant a lot to all of us. And I would encourage you, if you haven't seen some family members in a while, why don't you call one up, see what they're up to. If it's a case of being able to just sync your schedules together, try and do that, because I do have another familial meetup that I have to schedule in. I have a particular uncle that reached out to me, and we have some beer and pizza, I believe, on the table coming up, and I'm looking forward to that. So that will be kind of family meetup number 2 in the weeks ahead. And boy, I could just keep on doing this stuff because these are people that really mean a lot to me. And even though we're trying to conduct our own separate lives, it's nice to just put things down or aside for a moment and just come together and love and laugh. And I encourage that for you. Make sure that you love and laugh together with your family. In a very different way, one thing that I love is food. Everybody loves some good flavor, and because it's been a hot minute, I think we all should have a flavor to savor.
Step up to the plate, we're about to debate the flavor to savor, but never second rate, taste buds on fire, we're the critics you admire, break it down on the podcast, set the world on fire, savory to sweet, we're digging deep, food and drink, it's a flavor-filled feast, we'll sip and we'll munch, review with the punch, complex context, bringing the flavor for lunch.
Flavor to Savor is where we discuss today's beverage and food options that you may or may not want to savor. In case you forgot how this works, we have 5 categories that we judged an item that I'm trying for the first time: smell, initial taste, ease of consumption, eventual taste, and desirability. Each category will get a rating from 1, which is gross, to 5, which is great. We'll add them all up at the end, and we'll give you a final tally on if the item that I'm trying is indeed a flavor to savor. And it is in line with some of our past ones. Another opportunity to talk about another potato chip. We don't have this strictly for potato chips. It just happens that I'm coming across these items and I have the opportunity to have them. So I don't want you to think that this is supposed to be a potato chip segment, I promise you. But I did come across a nice import, another import, I should say, because we had one before for Lay's potato chips. This one is Lay's Crispy Grilled Chicken Wings flavor from their Big Wave potato chips line. Now, the bag had some really good chicken wings pictured on there, and it had kind of a darker gray, kind of black and yellow, maybe like an orangey yellow color scheme on it. It really got my attention. And as mentioned in the past, though design has nothing to do with this, I think it is very important to have packaging that attracts a customer to a product. And this really got that job done. Obviously, I was one to buy the product and try it, hence why we're doing this segment. But you already know that. So on the package itself, in the best translation that I was able to get, because this was in Chinese writing, this was a kind of fun and quirky marketing scenario that they had on the bag, because the bag said, and again, my translation resources were not 100%. It said, stay up late to write a paper, kneeling down on Black Friday, and working overtime nonstop. Come pack Lay's big wave potato chips to keep them crispy and relax. It was kind of cool. Now, the whole Black Friday thing, kneeling down on Black Friday, I think that's where we get a little lost in translation, but that's okay. I got the gist of it, which was, hey, no matter what you're doing and how busy you are, come enjoy these Lay's big wave potato chips. So I thought that was cool. That really got my attention. We're going to start with category 1, smell. How did the crispy grilled chicken wings flavor Lay's big wave potato chips smell? And I have to tell you, it was a really nice opening smell. I gave it a 4, which is good. Now, the smell might not be what you would think. And you're probably saying, I don't understand. It's supposed to be grilled chicken wings. Well, when you first open the bag and you're smelling the chips, I got this almost chicken broth kind of smell. And that's really a comforting, kind of relaxing, feel-good smell in terms of, for me, I associate that smell with getting better and relaxing and not going too crazy with how you conduct your day-to-day business. So even though it wasn't a smell that matched up 100% to what a grilled chicken wing might be, it was still a really nice smell. So that's why I gave it a 4. Category 2, the initial taste. How did it taste from that first chip bite? Yeah, taste was good. It was on point. I don't want to say that it was anything of any major mind-blowing sensation. It was good, but just respectable. It wasn't anything that as soon as you bit into, you said, wow, but it wasn't anything that you should turn away from either. So for that reason, I gave it a 3, which is a so-so. Category 3, the ease of consumption. How easy was it to consume this? And I have to say, for anybody who happens to have exposure and the availability to these big wave potato chips that are imported, wow, they are really awesomely big. And I'm talking very sizable, lots of ridges, but very deep, pronounced ridges. I really liked the texture of this. And it was a little intimidating because I thought, well, even after chewing, this is a pretty sizable chip. I'm hoping it goes down all right. And thankfully, I was not disappointed. I was actually pleasantly surprised in how easy it was to consume such a big, hearty potato chip, to the point that I gave it a 5, which is great. Category number 4, eventual taste. As I kept eating these Lay's crispy grilled chicken wing potato chips, how did the taste hold up, especially compared to my first bite? And I have to say that the eventual taste really kept improving per each bite. That's not to say that it was bad. Yes, I gave it a so-so to start with, but that probably was just my palate adjusting to and becoming accustomed to this particular product variant that I've never had before. So as I kept having more chips, it kept tasting more and more delicious. For that reason, I gave it a 4, which is good. And lastly, category 5, desirability. How likely would it be that if I had another bag of Lay's crispy grilled chicken wings flavor big wave potato chips in front of me, would I want to have it? I would definitely want to have it again. Now, would it be something that I would go out of my way and go to all of these online grocers, or say try and get my network going where I can ask people, hey, do you know where I could get these? No, I wouldn't do it like that. But I definitely would go out and make sure that I have some money and travel a little bit to get another bag, I would certainly take those efforts. I gave it a 4, which is good. With that said, we tally all of these up and we come up with a grand total of 20, which is good. The highest that anything can get on the segment is a 25, which is great. And 20 is the top of the good, so it was 1 point shy of being great. And without having my records in front of me, this might be the highest ranking product so far on Flavor to Savor. So if you have the opportunity to consume Lay's Crispy Grilled Chicken Wings flavor out of their Big Wave potato chips line, I would absolutely encourage it. It is really, really good, and it is certainly a flavor to savor. Have you ever noticed when you go shopping online and you have all of these various e-commerce websites or websites that are an extension of brick and mortar retail, that they usually will provide across their product line the ability to do searches in a multitude of ways that usually consists of categories and colors and sizing and all of that. And one of the factors in terms of how those results are sorted back to you is typically by price. So why is it in 2024, after years and years of having this be an ever-present way of sorting your shop-worthy results back to you on an internet basis, why do the price sorting options always have from lowest to highest price as like the 4th out of the 5th selection or the 2nd out of the 5th selection? It is never the first and it is never the last. I do have a theory on this. And the simple theory is most of these retailers are hoping that people don't have the patience to drop down the sort feature and look for price lowest to highest. But in reality, I would take a fair guess at saying everybody ends up finding it anyways. So why make us work more when we're going to likely just make that effort and find that sorting of price lowest to highest anyways, because not many people are looking to sort it by recommendation, right? How do I know what a product is recommended by? Because of a rating? But I would say it's a safe bet that the majority of shoppers who are using online means to shop want to have the opportunity to see how these products are offered to you by a lowest to highest price base. And it's just not put as a first option ever. Regardless of that, people will find that option anyways. Because when it comes to managing your finances and wanting to stay within a certain budget, we're always going to find lowest to highest. So I would ask all of the retailers, and I know that there's some cockamamie PR nightmare statement behind justifying why it's done, I'm sure, from almost every option that this applies to. And I probably would not believe 99% of them. But regardless of whatever ridiculous reasoning that a retailer or any business comes up with, not having your ability to sort their product line from lowest price to highest price may be, I'm telling you, people will find that option anyways. It is an essential way to sort product in order to balance both affordability and reliability in whatever products that we're looking at. So please, retailers and businesses who use e-commerce websites, cut the crap and just put sorting by lowest to highest price as either the first option or the last option in the drop down. Stop thinking that you're cute because you're putting it maybe a third or a quarter of the way into all of the sorting options that you have. It doesn't work anyways. We will end up finding it. We always do. Just stop, because you're ultimately conveying a message of, we don't want that to be the easiest option for you to find because we don't want you always going with the lowest price. Consumers are going to vote with their wallets no matter what. So just accept it and put probably, in my opinion, the most popular option at the top or at the bottom. Stop hiding it on us. As we're already on the subject of various retailers, I think it's important that we serve up some additional details and really get down to business.
Get down to business, news so tight. Complex content shining light. From boardrooms to crazy heights. Business groove, it's out of sight.
Get Down to Business is a spot to provide you news and notes of the business world, which will keep you informed. And we have a tie-in between our Flavor to Savor segment and the last category that we were talking about in terms of retailers and pricing. It's kind of all coming together very ironically and unplanned that way. But our Get Down to Business for this episode deals with McDonald's, which, for what it's worth, I'm not a fan of. They are removing AI voice ordering from over 100 drive-thrus. They told their franchise operators recently, I believe as recently as last week, that the company would be removing AI order-taking technology from over 100 drive-thrus that utilize it, which marks the end of a test period that was in conjunction with efforts from IBM. A spokesperson with the company said that the technology was introduced in 2021 after IBM acquired McD Tech Labs, which McDonald's created after they took over an AI speech company a couple of years prior. So just knowing that they had something called McD Tech Labs, that's kind of crazy to think about how they have dedicated technology departments and staff working to, I guess, improve, or maybe I should say streamline the business operations to make it more profitable. Let's be honest, that's what it always comes down to. IBM and McDonald's developed this technology to determine if AI voice ordering could simplify the whole ordering operation and make it a faster and improved experience for the customers. And essentially, the accuracy of this whole system was only about 85% most of the time, with human people on the staff having to interject and correct this ordering process about 20% of the time. IBM did express interest in continuing technology development with quick-serve restaurant clients who are interested in similar drive-through opportunities, but with that said, I have to encourage all of us to be mindful of the fact that AI, in this particular instance, where it is being touted as wanting to improve the experience, I would venture to guess really didn't make much of a difference. So even if you're a customer who never had an issue with your order being right, did it really improve anything? Or was the improvement strictly from the operations side in terms of McDonald's not having to pay somebody to do that? I get it, business is business, but we're talking about a fast food franchise which the quality has not really been up to par for quite a while, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a fan of them personally. That doesn't mean that you can't be or shouldn't be. But when we talk about AI and how it can help us out, this is really a job that still has validity with humans conducting it. There is a personalized experience when you have a human voice that you get to drive up to and see who is taking your order. There's a customer-employee connection, and I'm not saying that you're developing a relationship, but you have this kind of understanding that, hey, you took the order, it's my order, I appreciate it, and if I have any questions, I can ask the person that took it, or if I have any changes that I need to make, or if the order taker wasn't 100% sure that they captured the order right, they have the opportunity to speak directly to the customer and say, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I just wanted to make sure, etc., etc. AI can't do that. And though it might help streamline the whole order taking operation, we're further removing person-to-person interaction in a business that really needs it right now, because quality of the products being offered aren't anything to really put any faith in and feel good about. So you need that person-to-person interaction and experience in order to feel good about your overall approach to the business and to its products. So AI not happening anymore for McDonald's drive-thrus. That's not to say that this technology can't be reintroduced, but let's be mindful, where it is with one, it will expand to others. And I think we all need to continue to push for continuing the human-to-human interaction in all aspects of life as best as possible. Do you have a topic that you would like discussed here on Complex Context? Do you have feedback about one of the topics that we have already discussed on a previous episode? We encourage all of your ideas and feedback. You can always send us an email at complexcontextshow@yahoo.com. We also have a very honest and open account on our X platform. Yes, the former Twitter. We are at Complex Context 1. You can also follow us, like us, contribute on our Facebook page, facebook.com/ComplexContext1. Thank you so much for your time and your generosity with it, as well as your feedback. We really appreciate it. And we hope to discuss more things about life and its intricacies and some of the little things, the big things, and all of that with you next time. I'm Rob Impact. Do what you do it often, do it well. Just don't do anything I wouldn't do, and you'll be doing all right. You take care.
Visit the show's website at complexcontext.podbean.com. Complex Context is a Mass Ed Media production.